I'd like to call this meeting to order. Welcome here, everyone. And at this time, I'd like to give the opening to Councillor Michael Zwaagstra.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. One of the things I like about summer is I have the opportunity to do a little bit of extra reading. And I try not to read only new books. Sometimes I do like to read some that are a bit older. And so in that vein, I recently finished reading Robert N. Thompson's memoir, A House of Minorities, which was originally published in 1990. Now at this point, you're probably wondering, who's Robert N. Thompson? The answer is that he was a former member of Parliament who served as leader of the Social Credit Party from 1961 to 1967. However, that probably still doesn't help most of you. You see, few people today remember the Social Credit Party, and yet social credit used to be a force to be reckoned with in Canadian politics. Social credit began as a provincial party in Alberta during the Great Depression. Originally led by William Aberhart, a radio preacher who later became premier, he was succeeded by Ernest Manning, the father of future Reform Party leader Preston Manning. People in other provinces soon took notice of this new party and formed their own. In 1952, W.A.C. Bennett led his Social Credit Party to victory in British Columbia and served as premier of that province for the next 20 years. While Social Credit never formed government in any other province, they did exceed in electing some provincial MLAs, including right here in Manitoba. Thompson came to prominence when he became leader of the Federal Social Credit Party in 1961 and was elected to Parliament in 1962. This gave Thompson a front-row seat to one of the most notorious political rivalries of all time, Progressive Conservative leader John Diefenbaker versus Liberal leader Lester Pearson. In the 1962 election, Diefenbaker's massive electoral majority was reduced to a thin minority of only 116 out of 265 seats. Since Thompson's Social Credit Party had 30 seats, they effectively gave Social Credit the balance of power. Unfortunately, Diefenbaker had little interest in working with Thompson, even though they both shared similar small c conservative values. According to Thompson, Diefenbaker blamed him for splitting the vote and costing him his majority. Diefenbaker's minority government didn't last long. On February 6, 1963, Thompson voted with the rest of the opposition parties for a non-confidence motion and brought down the government. In the subsequent election, Pearson won a minority government with 128 seats, while Social Credit was reduced to 24 seats. However, Thompson faced strife within his own party. While Thompson had long abandoned the original social credit economic theory of the 1930s, his Quebec wing had different ideas. And since most social credit MPs came from Quebec, this put Thompson in an untenable position. In 1963, the party split, with most Quebec MPs forming the Règlement des Créditistes under the leadership of Réal Cahouette. Interestingly, Thompson's political career was not finished yet. He tried to merge his party with the Progressive Conservatives, and when this attempt failed, he crossed the floor and joined the Progressive Conservatives in 1967, which were then led by new leader Robert Stanfield. Thompson was re-elected in his Red Deer riding in 1968, where he served until his retirement in 1972. It is ironic that for 4 years, Thompson served in the same caucus as his former rival, John Diefenbaker. It's too bad they didn't get along better, since they had many things in common. One thing that stood out to me from Thompson's book is how much things have changed in politics since his time. As an obvious case in point, the Social Credit Party is no more. As another example, Thompson had described Saskatchewan as a stronghold for the NDP. Of course, that has since changed, since Saskatchewan hasn't elected a single federal NDP MP since 2015 and hasn't had a provincial NDP government in 2007. Thompson died in 1997, and few people remember him today. That is unfortunate, since there is much we can learn from our former political leaders. Whether we like it or not, change is a constant in politics, whether we're at the federal level, the provincial level, or the municipal level like we are here today. It's a good thing for us all to remember. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Zwaagstra. Council, we have the agenda in front of us, looking for a motion to adopt. Councillor Penner, second by Councillor Hebert. Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Council, we have the minutes of July 16th, 2024, the regular council meeting. Starting on page 1, we've all had a chance to review. Looking for a motion to approve. Councillor Siemens, second by Councillor Hebert. Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Are there any business arising from the minutes? Okay, seeing none. We are just at 7:35, so we will go directly into the public hearing. We'll do the 6A, which is Variance V-2024-07. This is referring to 101 and 103 Winston Place. Mr. Working, could you please introduce this file? At this time I will close the council meeting, open the public hearing. Mr. Working, please, could you introduce this file?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Variance application file V-2024-07 is being applied for property with an address of 101, 103 Winston Place. The owner of the property is Wesley and Johanna Peters, with the applicant for the variance being G&E Homes. Purpose of the variance application is to allow an 18-foot 2-inch rear yard setback, whereas the RMD residential medium density zone requires a minimum rear yard setback of 25 feet. The applicant is requesting this variance to be able to construct a covered deck at the rear of the dwelling at 103 Winston Place. The planned structure for the site is a duplex. With respect to the application, as I mentioned, it is side-by-side duplex that is proposed for the subject property. A copy of the site plan is provided for council's information in the agenda package, showing the configuration and the proposed location of the covered deck. Administration has provided several examples of past precedents where council has considered similar applications, with all of those precedents previously having been approved. The existing property does have residential development that surrounds both the rear and side yards of the subject property. Recommendation from administration is for council to approve the application subject to any new evidence being presented.
Thank you, Mr. Orgadine. Is the applicant here today? Do you wish to speak? Okay. Are there any questions of council? Okay. Then I will ask if there is anyone here with comments, questions, or objections to this file. Okay, seeing none, I will ask one more time. Is there anyone here with comments, questions, or objections to this file? Okay, I see none. So at this time, I will close the public hearing, open the council meeting. Council, how would you like to proceed? Councillor Zwaagstra?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll make a motion to approve the variance.
Second by Councillor Hebert. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As is noted, there is a lot of precedent for allowing this type of variance. In this case here, we're talking about a covered deck that would, instead of being 25 feet from the property line, would be 18 feet. We have at least 4 examples, recent examples, where we had variances even larger than this one. Important to note that there are no objections, so no neighbors are raising any concerns. Our staff have not raised any concerns, so I think it makes sense for us to let the variance go ahead.
Anything further?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. What we have here is we've got, I think, one of the last 2 lots in that subdivision of Winston, and both, I believe, are owned by the Mr. and Mrs. Peters. And there's duplexes going on both. At the back of the property is a high fence, and as indicated, we've had no objections from neighbors, and all they're asking for is a 7-foot variance, and I think it's a I agree with the request.
Thank you. Anything further of council? Anything in closing?
Nope.
Council, I'll call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Thank you. Okay, moving on, there's no reports and recommendations. We'll move to administration. We've got 9A, accounts payable, back of the book. We've all had a chance to review. Looking for a motion to approve. Councillor Hebert, second by Councillor Siemens. Any comments?
No comments.
Call for the question. All's in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Got 9B, the accounts receivable transfer to taxes. That's on page 20. Council, this is a standard procedure we do a couple of times a year. These are just unpaid bills, and we're just, by motion, transferring them to taxes so they can be put on the tax bill. Looking for a motion to approve. Councillor Penner, second by Councillor Penner. Any comments?
No.
Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay, we have the 9C. This is the Municipal Board Appoint Delegation. This is referring to bylaw 2241. There is a motion, Council, on page 21, and I can read it. Whereas City of Steinbach rezoning bylaw has been referred to the Municipal Board, and then whereas the Municipal Board is scheduled a public hearing for August 14th and August 15th, 2024, and also August 16th if required. Be it resolved that City Manager Troy Workteen, City Planner Lacey Godet be delegated to represent the city at the Municipal Board hearing scheduled for August 14th, 15th, and 16th, if required. Looking for a motion to approve. Councillor Hebert, second by Councillor Zwaagstra. Any comments?
No comments.
Okay, call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. We've got 9D, this excavator license. Looking for a motion to approve. Councillor Siemens, second by Councillor Penner. Any comments?
No, sir.
Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. And we've got 9E. This is bylaw 2198. This is Elmdale Street Widening. This is our third reading. Mr. Worthing, could you please introduce this file?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Bylaw 2198, as you noted, is a proposed bylaw for the Elmdale Street widening, particularly at the Reimer Avenue and Elmdale Street intersection. This bylaw has been provided first and second reading by council. The recommendation is for council to approve third reading.
Thank you, Mr. Worthing. Motion to approve. Councillor Penner, second by Councillor Penner. Any comments?
Yeah, this is to accommodate the future growth of that corner. Obviously, with the new event center coming up, there's going to be considerably more traffic, particularly during big events. So this is just being proactive in terms of being to manage the traffic.
Anything further?
Nothing further to add.
Anything further of council? Okay, call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Are there any questions of council today? Okay, seeing none, we will move to 11, correspondence petitions. We've got a letter from Tree Canada Community Green Grants Program. That's Memorandum of Understanding. Council, would you like to proceed? Take his information. Okay. There's no other business, and looking for a motion to adjourn. Councillor Hebert, second by Councillor Penner. Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Next council meeting will be Tuesday, August 20th, 2024 at 7:30.